right now is that women are put less than men. We see babies who are females are actually burned in villages. We see that women do not have the same chance of getting education and getting job the same as men, ladies and gentlemen. We see that today in this debate, we would like to prove to you how surrogate motherhood is only hampering the problem existing, which degrades the values of women, ladies and gentlemen. We would like to set the debate in India, the country of overpopulation, where traditional values exist, but sadly, where women are also put under men, ladies and gentlemen. We see that in order to reach development, women have to be put in the same status as men, and this motion today, banning it, would actually reach our goal today. Our stance today is to defend the equality in the country by not prohibiting any fertilization that is not natural. Before I move on to my arguments, I would like to define the motion. We would like to define surrogate motherhood as a kind of fertility where you actually pay a woman for the use of its womb. This is, of course, a degradation of women values because we treat them as a commodity. I, as the first speaker, would bring two substantive points on the philosophical basis of this debate. The first, how it's morally wrong because it degrades women, and second, how it's also morally wrong in the eyes of Indian society. My second speaker will bring to you the further implications on how it can affect the children created by surrogate motherhood and how it can also hamper human trafficking. Before I move on, our mechanics today is that we would like to make a law, enact a law and supervise the running of fertilization in our hospitals, in our cities, in our country, which means that we would ban it all and make it legally wrong to do such thing. The urgency is really critical. We think it is time to solve the problem, and this is one of the way. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to my first substantive argument about how it degrades women's values. In the society, the woman's nature is to be a mother. But what we have often forgotten is that the family values are put above anything, which means that for a mother to give birth, they don't have to get paid. They have to create a family where this upholds their rights, it upholds their dignity, it upholds their integrity over their own body. We see that in this case, body autonomy does not happen or does not apply, because as a wise government, we should limit these rights for the development of this woman itself. We see that surrogate motherhood does not fulfill the nature of a woman, where they treat their fertility as something that can be paid or being transactional, ladies and gentlemen. We see that this is a very bad case. This happens often when unresponsible parents who don't want to get committed pay a woman just to have a child. We see that this also hampers the natures of a family, where to create a child, to create a family, you have to get committed, especially in these countries where values are upheld. Paying a woman simply just to get a child is an unresponsible thing to do because it hampers the current condition, it hampers the problem, and it treats women as a commodity. In this country, we would not let it happen. The problem at the status quo itself, women are already put behind or left behind men, and this will only trigger the development to hamper. We see that these days, with the existence of surrogate motherhood, women are less respected. This is not what we want for development, because in order for us to reach development, everyone should be treated the same, everyone should be equal. We see that this does not reach our goal today, which means that our point on women's dignity and values have successfully stood strong because this motion prevents the kind of thing to happen. The opposition's proposal will only create women's degradation. Second of all, ladies and gentlemen, how that is morally wrong in the eyes of the society. If we analyze the country, what do we have? We have religious values, we have cultural values, and also the values upheld by the society. This includes families, understanding, etc. We see that this undermines those values that have been in the society for decades, or even hundreds of years, ladies and gentlemen. We see that this kind of modern thing that is not supposed to be enacted in our country will only hamper the current situation in our society, because our society adheres to certain values and certain moral capabilities. This is not the right thing to do, because in India itself we have family and understanding values, which means that we should uphold to that values instead of paying someone and make the dignity less, ladies and gentlemen. This is not what our culture teaches us. It undermines the role of a mother, not as someone who subconsciously gives birth, but as someone who can be paid simply to give a child. This undermines the value of family, this undermines the value of having children, thus women and values are only treated as commodity, ladies and gentlemen. What is going to happen when these values are not upheld in the society? First, there will be conflicts regarding these kind of things, because as we believe, in the country there are still some conservative people who are not progressive and not acceptable of this kind of things. We see that the children or the parents who do this surrogate motherhood thing, ladies and gentlemen, will only be less respected by the society and will only trigger conflicts to happen because they are not accepted in the society. What happens when you break the norms and the value of society is that you are not accepted anymore. This can hamper the progress that our country is making. In order for development to be reached, we have to put everyone in the same equality, and thus the moral values need to be upheld. Those moral values are the ones who create the personality and characters of our people. Thus, it is not time for us to break the boundaries and just do this thing without any benefits. We see that those moral values need to be upheld for the sake of betterment, for the sake of trademark of our country. This will only create an image on the society that the government is inconsistent, because all this while we have always told people to uphold the values in the society, and now we are allowing them to break their own values. We see that by banning surrogate motherhood, we would prevent these kind of things to happen. So I have stated to you, ladies and gentlemen, first on the justification that this is morally wrong because it degrades women's values, and this is not what's going to happen in our country, because women in the status quo are already put behind men, and we need women to be treated equally and not as a commodity for our country to develop. Second, I have also explained to you how this does not suit our moral values that have been upheld for a long time. We see that with our proposal, we stand really strong and we deserve to win this debate. Thank you.